Welcome back to our channel, soap opera lovers. Today is a fantastic day to dive deep into the scandalous, ever-twisting world of Genoa City. We have some incredibly juicy details to unpack regarding your favorite characters, and the drama is reaching an absolute boiling point. Settle in, get comfortable, and let us break down the latest explosive developments together. The line between victim and villain is becoming incredibly blurred right now in Genoa City. Jack Abbott, the man who has spent years trying to claim the moral high ground against his eternal rival, Victor Newman, is currently playing a psychological game so dark and twisted that it might just rival the very man he despises. We are witnessing a masterclass in emotional manipulation, and the target is none other than the matriarch of the Newman family herself, Nikki Newman. What started as a search for comfort has morphed into a calculated strike aimed directly at the heart of the Newman marriage, proving that when pushed to the edge, even the most self-righteous characters will fight dirty. The tension this weekend reached a fever pitch when Nikki and Jack sat down for what was supposed to be a heart-to-heart conversation between two people who share a profound, complicated history. Jack is currently a man pushed to the absolute brink of despair. His wife, Diane Jenkins, is missing and furious. His reputation is in tatters thanks to Patty Williams exposing his secrets to the media, and his family is fracturing from the inside out. But instead of simply seeking a shoulder to cry on, Jack saw a golden opportunity. He looked at Nikki, a woman currently vulnerable and exhausted by her own family's relentless chaos, and decided to weaponize her empathy for his own strategic gain. To truly understand the gravity of this manipulation, we have to look back at the profound, decades-long history between Jack Abbott and Nikki Newman. These two are not just casual acquaintances, they are former lovers, confidants, and survivors of each other's darkest chapters. They have shared marriages, heartbreaks, and an undeniable emotional tether that has survived countless wars between the Abbotts and the Newmans. Jack knows the exact cadence of Nikki's heart. He knows how to speak to her in a way that bypasses her usual Newman defenses. By leaning into this deep-rooted trust, Jack is ensuring that Nikki does not question the validity of his claims. He is using their sacred history as a Trojan horse to deliver a devastating blow to Victor. During their intense meeting, Jack began to recount the horrifying events that took place on that yacht with Patty Williams. However, he did not just tell the objective truth, he spun a heavily exaggerated, intensely dramatic version of the story. Jack deliberately magnified Victor Newman's role in the ordeal, painting a picture of a calculated, cold-blooded monster who orchestrated every single agonizing detail of the encounter. Jack leaned in close, his voice thick with feigned trauma and righteous indignation, and heavily emphasized the absolute worst part of the nightmare, the fact that he was drugged against his will. He made sure Nikki heard, loud and clear, that Victor paid Patty Williams not just to seduce him or cause a scandal, but to chemically incapacitate him. Jack framed the narrative to suggest that Victor was fully aware and supportive of the drugging, turning a scheme of marital sabotage into a vicious, premeditated physical assault. For Jack, a man who has fought brutal, life-threatening battles with pill addiction in the past, being drugged is the ultimate violation. He knows exactly how triggering this specific detail is, and he used it like a scalpel to dissect Nikki's lingering loyalty to her husband. The impact on Nikki was instantaneous and devastating to witness. We all know Nikki Newman's agonizing, decades-long war with alcoholism. She knows the terrifying helplessness of losing control to a substance, the dark abyss of addiction that constantly threatens to pull her under. Hearing Jack, a fellow recovering addict, describe how her husband allegedly orchestrated a scenario where he was drugged left her absolutely stunned. The color drained from her face as the horrifying implications washed over her. It is one thing for Victor to play dirty in the boardroom, but to intentionally weaponize drugs against a man with a history of substance abuse, that is a line Nikki simply cannot stomach. Deep down, Nikki is a highly intelligent and perceptive woman. Her initial instinct was to suspect that Patty Williams, a woman whose grip on reality has always been tenuous and dangerous at best, likely spiked the drink on her own chaotic volition. Nikki knows Patty is a wild card capable of anything, especially when her obsession with Jack is involved. However, that logical deduction offered absolutely no comfort to the Newman matriarch. Even if Patty acted alone in the final moment, it was Victor who bought the ticket, set the stage, and unleashed a known and stable threat directly at Jack. Victor handed a loaded gun to a mad woman, and Nikki is horrified by that undeniable, chilling fact. Jack continued to press his advantage, insisting with fiery conviction that Victor has completely abandoned any remaining shred of morality. He argued that Victor's obsessive need to destroy Jack's marriage to Diane Jenkins has blinded him to all human decency. Jack portrayed himself as the innocent victim of a megalomaniac who will stop at nothing to ruin lives for his own amusement. Every carefully chosen word Jack spoke was designed to make Nikki question the man she shares a bed with, forcing her to look at Victor not as a protective patriarch, but as a ruthless predator who respects no boundaries and values winning over basic human life. For Nikki, this entire revelation felt like a violent, personal slap in the face. She has spent months, if not years, trying to convince herself that Victor had finally mellowed out. That the golden years of their marriage would be defined by peace rather than endless corporate and personal warfare. She desperately wanted to believe that the days of Victor's most venomous, destructive schemes were permanently behind them. But Jack's exaggerated tale shattered that fragile illusion into a million irreversible pieces. Nikki realized, with a sickening drop in her stomach, that Victor has not changed at all. The ruthless, calculating dictator is still very much alive, and if he can do this to Jack, what is stopping him from turning that same cruelty toward her? Let us be completely honest here. Jack Abbott is not just venting his frustrations to an old friend. He is executing a highly calculated, incredibly manipulative agenda. He is actively plotting to create a massive, unbridgeable distance between Nikki and Victor. Jack knows that a united Victor and Nikki are an unstoppable force, but a divided Newman household leaves Victor distracted, vulnerable, and prone to making mistakes. By planting these toxic seeds of doubt and horror in Nikki's mind, Jack is ensuring that Victor will face a brutal war on his own home front, right when he needs his wife's support the most to deal with the ongoing crises involving their children. To seal the deal, Jack offered a seemingly innocent piece of advice that was actually the final, masterful move in his psychological chess match. He gently suggested that Nikki needs to get out of Genoa City, away from the toxic environment Victor has created. He planted the idea of her traveling to Italy to visit her granddaughter, Summer Newman. Jack framed it as a necessary escape, a chance for Nikki to get some fresh air and clear her head from the suffocating drama. But in reality, Jack wants Nikki physically and emotionally removed from Victor's orbit, ensuring that the wedge he just drove between them has time to solidify without Victor being able to defend himself or spin the narrative. We must also remember the severe physical toll this is taking on Nikki. According to the latest updates, Nikki is currently suffering from blinding, excruciating headaches that leave her disoriented and in agonizing pain. Her body is physically breaking down under the immense stress of her family's ongoing crises, particularly Nick's terrifying battle with fentanyl addiction and his recent collapse. When a person is in that much physical and emotional pain, their judgment is naturally clouded. They crave a safe harbor. Jack is presenting himself as that safe harbor, all while secretly steering her ship directly into a hurricane. It is a masterful, albeit deeply cynical, exploitation of a woman who is already fighting exhausting battles on multiple fronts. Looking at this objectively, my honest personal commentary on Jack right now is a mix of awe and deep disappointment. As a movie-loving friend watching this drama unfold, I have to say Jack is becoming the very monster he claims to hate. He is using Nikki's genuine empathy and her shared trauma regarding addiction to manipulate her into doing his bidding. It is a brilliant strategic move, but it is incredibly dirty and underhanded. Jack is so blinded by his rage over Diane's disappearance and Patty's public betrayal that he is willing to use his oldest, dearest friend as a disposable pawn. It makes you wonder if Jack has any moral high ground left to stand on, or if he has fully descended into the same darkness that consumes Victor. As for Nikki, my heart truly breaks for her. She is physically and emotionally exhausted, making her the perfect, unsuspecting target for Jack's manipulation. Nikki is usually so sharp and fiercely protective of her marriage, but her vulnerability right now is blinding her to Jack's true motives. She is absorbing Jack's pain and taking it on as her own personal betrayal, which is exactly what Jack wants. She deserves far better than to be caught in the crossfire of these two massive, warring egos. Meanwhile, Victor Newman, in all his arrogant glory, brought this entirely upon himself. When you hire someone as deeply unstable as Patty Williams to do your dirty work, you cannot control the blast radius. Victor's hubris is finally catching up with him, and he is about to pay a massive price on the home front. So, what is going to happen next in this explosive storyline? I predict that Nikki is going to take Jack's bait, hook, line, and sinker. The disgust she feels toward Victor right now is too visceral and deeply personal to ignore. I believe she will pack her bags and head to Italy to see Summer, leaving Victor completely blindsided and furious by her sudden departure. However, Victor Newman is not a man who stays in the dark for long. When he inevitably discovers that Jack was the one whispering in Nikki's ear, exaggerating the details of the yacht incident to drive her away, Victor's retaliation will be swift, terrifying, and absolutely merciless. Jack thinks he is winning this round, but he has just poked a sleeping, highly dangerous bear. Furthermore, we cannot forget the ripple effects this will have on Summer Newman if Nikki actually travels to Italy. Summer is already dealing with the chaotic fallout of her mother Phyllis's legal nightmares and the looming threat of federal prison. Imagine Nikki arriving in Italy, carrying the toxic, heavy baggage of Victor and Jack's latest war. Summer will be caught squarely in the middle, forced to watch her grandmother spiral over allegations that her grandfather intentionally drugged Jack Abbott. This Italy trip, designed by Jack as a breath of fresh air, will likely become a suffocating pressure cooker of Newman family trauma. spreading the Genoa City toxicity all the way across the globe to Europe. The chessboard of Genoa City is being rapidly rearranged, and the collateral damage is going to be absolutely spectacular to witness as these titans clash once again. Do you think Nikki will actually leave Victor and head to Italy, or will she stay and confront her husband about Jack's horrifying allegations? Drop your thoughts, theories, and predictions in the comments section below, and do not forget to share this article with your fellow Y&R fans so we can all debate this explosive storyline together.